Over the years, the Coalition has been truly fortunate to have so many celebrities participating in our public service ads. While their political views may vary, they all have one thing in common: a deep love for our country and for the men and women of our armed forces who serve to protect us. For many of them, that connection is personal, very personal. Have a listen while they'll tell you in their own words how they feel about the soldiers and veterans who protect us and our freedoms each and every day. Ray, thank you very much for what you just did. That public service announcement will involve and engage the American public towards the needs of our combat wounded veterans.
Well, I'm happy to do whatever I can. I mean, my father was a World War II vet. My brother was not a vet, but he was a police officer for 20 years. Anybody who has the bravery to go out and protect the American citizen is a hero in my book, and happy to do anything I can.
Indeed. Well, thank you. And here's a challenge coin that will represent to you their commitment to our country.
Beautiful.
And our commitment.
Beautiful. I accept it.
Stand on the wall for them, and we're working on that as a team. So.
But you know what, you guys too. I mean, you're doing most of all the work, and the fact that I can come in here and feel like I'm contributing is an honor. So thank you very much. Thank you.
I am just blessed to be here today with you, and thank you for all you're doing.
You got it. Thank you. You too. Thank you.
Craig, tell me, where does your love for our nation's veterans come from?
I was raised in a home that respected the veterans, and it was a patriotic family. But I've been given the opportunity to play so many heroes in the service and outside of the service that it gave me a newfound respect for what they do and the sacrifice they made. And also, I just have my heart is in their corner for sure.
I love supporting the military, and in NASCAR, the military's at our racetracks all the time. They used to do flyovers, and we really honor them because they've done so much for our country. It's unreal. So this was an honor for me to do the announcements, and hopefully we'll do more.
Where does your love for our nation's veterans come from?
I would have to say Lieutenant William H. Macy Sr., 8th Air Force, he flew a B-17 pilot.
Where does your commitment and love for our nation's veterans come from?
I think it comes from my sense of civic duty and being a human on the planet. I want to be of service to these brave men and women in any way I can be.
Where does your love for our nation's veterans come from?
Well, first of all, it just comes from being a citizen of this country, you know, but my particular ties involve my grandfather, who was a full bird colonel and fought in both the big wars, his 3 sons, my uncles, and then uncles on the other side of my family too, and then my dad served as well. He served in peacetime, but I definitely have close ties.
It all started when I was doing some visits to Walter Reed, and it brought back memories of my grandfather. And my family has been raised in the military. My grandfather served 4 wars, starting with World War I. He ran off and joined the Army, and then he came back, and when World War II, he went back into service, and he actually died while he was active duty at Fort Bragg in North Carolina. And some of my earliest memories, excuse me, are of my grandfather. And I remember him taking me in his hands, holding my hand, walking me around and introducing me to people, and I couldn't have been more than 3 or 4 or 5 years old. And all I remember was the green of Fort Bragg, the flags, men jumping out of airplanes, and it's just been something that's been instilled in me, I think, from that day.
Where does your love for our nation's veterans come from?
Well, my family were service members, and my granddad, who raised me, was a colonel in the Army Corps of Engineers and served in World War II, Guadalcanal, and Pacific Theater. Spent several years away from home during that time, and raised me. So I've always honored veterans, servicemen and women, anybody that actually decides they're going to actually spend a part of their life giving and volunteering their life to this country.
It says spiritually there's no greater love than somebody that would lay down their life for a brother, and yet that's what our veterans have done all throughout the history of this country.
Very
and so Yeah, thank you. It wasn't necessary. It's my honor to salute you guys. Thank you so much for what you do.
Probably from my parents instilling me with a sense of the value of loyalty and the value of service and the value of integrity and just some very strong values. And I just have a very, very particular place in my heart for the men and women, especially who serve in our armed forces.
I've had a pretty good life. Things have worked out pretty well for me over the years I've been on this earth. And when you think about it, I think we all, if we're going to start looking toward who we need to thank to allow us to live the life we live in this country, it's those men and women who, since 1776, have sometimes given their lives, and sometimes, their bodies, their whatever. I mean, it's to allow us to live this kind of lifestyle that we live in this country, and so it's just that. I mean, I feel really blessed, and I think part of that blessing has to be passed on to those who made it all possible.
I have a lot of family members that are in the military, some currently serving, some have gone through and have come out, and it's always been something that's been near and dear to my heart and to my family's heart, to just sort of give back in any way we can and make sure that they're taken care of when they come home.
Because I think that that's probably the mentality that a lot of soldiers always have, is that no matter what, we're willing to fight for our country.
Sure.
And that's the mentality that you have to have. And I think that it's a honor. And if you're ready to have that honor, I say go for it. It's the best decision I ever made in my life.
Very nice.
And I definitely think that it'll be a good decision for anyone that decides to make it.
Great decision in your life.
Absolutely.
Great decision to, again, what a blessing.
I've got a couple family members in the service, a couple stepbrothers, Sean and Darren, if you're watching. Thank you for your service. And so I just appreciate what all our servicemen and women do for us. I want to think of them out there in combat, protecting us. I think about how terrified I'd be if I was in their position. And so I thank them for doing the hard stuff. And I've met quite a few veterans, and some of them homeless veterans, and it just always just feels wrong. It's like, what? How can there be any homeless veterans? They went out and put themselves in harm's way, and then they come back and there's no, support system, it seems like. I mean, I know there is a support system, but we could always do more.
I was raised by an incredible father and mother who, family of immigrants. We came to this country, my grandparents came to this country, and it's interesting, David, because they said, I was confused as a kid in Ohio, and I said, so I'm Greek.
Easy to be in Ohio.
With a name like Kanakarides, and I was in the Girl Scouts. So it's like, and I spoke Greek at home and everything, and I said to my grandfather, I said, am I Greek or am I American? He goes, first you're American, because this is the most incredible country on the planet, and it's given us so much.
Indeed.
And second, you're Greek, which makes you a better American. And I laughed, and I said, well, what do you mean by that? And he goes, we all come from somewhere, and what we do, and his two sons fought in the Korean War. My father fought in World War II, at the end of World War II. So we're a family of veterans, and we support our nation, and we love our citizens that support us and protect us and give us all our liberties. And I am honored to be here today. So thank you for this, but thank you for everything that you do, and thank you to all of you who work at the Coalition, because without you, it would not be an organization, correct?
Indeed.
And for
Yep.
all of you that support it, because we need as much support as possible. These people have fought for our safety, our security, everything that makes this country great, and we need to support them.
I'm very happy to help.
Excellent. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Here's a coin I'd like to
Thanks.
present to you.
We all got one of these last year, and I still have it in my room. I keep it in my room, so I'm happy to have another one.
Excellent.
This is a great treat. Thank
Excellent.
The fact that someone, especially in the wars that these guys have been asked to fight, where the mission is sometimes vague and the end game is sometimes hard to imagine, that they are willing to sign up and go over and fight this kind of a war under these kinds of circumstances And the treatment that they receive, or rather don't receive when they get back, is one of the greatest shames this country has ever had. So organizations like yours and others that are helping these men and women are just extraordinary. It's God's work, it's angels' work, and anytime I get to dip a toe into that pool and be a part of it, I am honored to do so. So thank you. You should be getting the coin. You guys should be getting the coin.
We're so grateful to the actors and artists who have helped the coalition. So many have a personal family connection to veterans or active duty military, and some of them simply felt they were just doing a civic duty. I know that all of them were honored just to be able to help. The coalition is equally grateful to every one of our supporters out there. You are what makes us a coalition. Please visit saluteheroes.org frequently to see how we are making a difference in the lives of veterans every day. Thank you for your support.